Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city.
Hey there, I am really Marty Levinson. Don't let anybody fool you. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web at www.ntnm.org. Over 250,000 shows watched. And one of our most watched shows is with our next guest, but I'll have you sit on your whatever for a while and before we introduce him. Community policing, we're very big on that, and so is our next guest. But once again, we're not going to tell you who he is quite yet. If you go to caps24.org, which is a website run by Sonny Hirsch in his spare time as chairman of the District Advisory Committee of the 24th District, Rogers Park, West Rogers Park, parts of Edgewater. There's all kinds of good stuff for graffiti. National Night Out is coming. We filmed past National Night Outs in the 24th District. There's access to all that video on the website caps24.org. And one of our 5 most watched shows of all time was a National Night Out we did that actually started out in Edgewater and worked its way through the neighborhood with the retired deputy chief of the Chicago Police Department, who actually, I knew him first as a CAPS sergeant in the 24th District when CAPS was first starting, and he had a bigger role in starting CAPS in this area and maybe in parts citywide than anybody else. And he later became lieutenant elsewhere, then captain, then commander of the 24th District and head of Area 3, which is like this particular North Side area. And that is, and not to mention president of the Showman Society at one point, Deputy Chief Bruce Rottner. How you doing?
Avi, thank you. I'm doing great.
First of all, my pleasure. Thank you. And first let's start talking about, now National Night Out, I want to make sure I let people know when and where it is. It's the first, It's Tuesday, August 6th. It's the first Tuesday in August. There's 2 events. Well, Sonny's got an event, I've got an event. Sonny is Devon to Peterson, Kedzie to Ridge, and he's going to be at Greenbrier Park at Peterson and Washtenaw. There is going to be giveaways for the kids, school supplies, things like that. There'll be plenty of police there, so you can feel perfectly safe. It was a really successful event last year, well attended, and that'll start at 6 p.m. and go to about 7:30. The event in our neck of the woods, where I run the beat, is going to be at Warren Park. That's Devon to Pratt, Kedzie to Ridge, that area. Also, same thing, school supplies, lots of police available. We had well over 100 people show up last year, which was great. 6 to 7:30 on Tuesday, August 6th. And for the rest of the 24th District, check Sonny's website, caps24.org. So you've run more than your share of National Night Outs.
Yeah, I really did. As a patrol officer, as a sergeant, then as a commander, and finally as a deputy chief, we took on 4 districts. So, but we really got on board. National Night Out really started almost 30 years ago, 1984 actually. Actually, August 7th, 1984.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, but I do remember that. And at that time, approximately 2.5 million people with about 400 communities were involved back in 1984. The latest statistics I read is now approximately 37 million people in about 15,000 communities throughout the country observe National Night Out. So this is a program that started almost 30 years ago, which has really expanded, and it's just based on a really simple premise. That neighbors know that other neighbors are involved in crime prevention, and it also sends the message to the bad guys that neighbors are involved in crime prevention. And they've done study after study that shows that communities that are actively involved in crime prevention tend to have less crime.
No question. You know, it's funny because now I'm starting to remember all the different walks we had at National Night Out. You know, we used to walk down Sonny's block in particular.
I remember that. That was always our last stop, was Sonny's block.
Yeah.
Right.
And
You saved the best for last, son.
yeah, and that's where you gave us. You know, I still remember. And by the way, I try to get it exact as I can. But listen, it's a few years. So at the very least, I try to paraphrase the ideas that you presented when I talk to other people about National Night Out, because you really it makes 100% sense. It's us against the bad guys.
Right.
And we got to show them.
Right, right. And that's again, you know, in 1984, it was simply going out on your front porch, your front stoop, as we used to call it, or whatever, and turning your outside light on, and that was a show of solidarity. It's expanded so much, and you know, I can only speak for 24, and just the terrific thing that the 9 Beats in 24 did over the years, and I believe some of them consolidated into sector type of events. You know, of course, economics, it's harder to get, you know, things to give away to people and so on and so forth. But we always found the business in 24 to be tremendously supportive of National Night Out.
No question. One thing I will tell you that the last 2 years Target has, actually the last 3 years, Target's really gone to bat. And I think we're getting like $100. Like last year we got a gift card from Target, $100 to get school supplies and giveaways for kids. And it's about $100 again this year that we're going to be giving away.
Sure.
And, you know, it's really, and they also bring bodies, you know, to help us out. And like sometimes there's like little badges for the kids, which they like.
Sure.
You know, get them used to that rather than the AK-47s.
Well, right. And Target was tremendously supportive. I remember McDonald's was tremendously supportive. Other smaller businesses, even when they couldn't really afford it, pitched in. Yeah. So everyone in 24, you know, we're not like the downtown districts where they have big corporations who can write a check for $1,000 and not even think about it. You know, here they're small businesses, you know, and it's tough today. But I always found they always found some money for a National Night Out to give to the Beats so everybody could be involved. 2432, Sylvester, I don't know if he's still involved or not, but you know, he had something over on Clark Street. It was almost like a carnival.
You're talking about Cesar Escorido.
Cesar, right, you know, who had the restaurant over on Clark Street.
He still does. And by the way, interestingly enough, the last 3 years, the Michelin Guide gave it a gourmand rating, which is the highest rating you can get without getting a Michelin star, which really shocked me. And then I looked at his menu; he's got like $45 dishes on it.
But he always really invested heavily in the community and did a great job.
And that was out of his own. He gave away food to everybody. He had these like pony rides and animal, you know, petting zoos. That was all out of his own pocket.
So National Night Out has longevity. I mean, it's a proven crime prevention strategy, a proven program, and it's something that people, you know, really built on as community policing and things like that. Community policing today, that term seems a little bit dated. You know, but be that as it may, you know, it's just people getting involved in crime prevention. It's something we did before the words community policing came out, and you know, people getting involved will always after community policing. So it's a good thing. And National Night Out, it's something that'll be here long after you and I are gone, Avi.
No, and I think it's a great thing. You know, you said the right thing. I really like. You talk about community policing and. In context, I've always felt, you know, despite dictates from downtown, and downtown's had some very interesting people, both good and bad, running things, and a lot of bad, by the way, but not at this present time. Well, now they're letting the locals control more, which is nice. But you know, it's basically about the neighborhood citizens talking to the police face to face. It's really that simple. It's not this whole complicated thing. It's like somebody was doing graffiti around, you know, across the street. You know, the person speaks to the police get to find out who it is. If you come to the community policing meetings, the police will tell you what problems they're aware of. You can let them know. And, you know, there's like 2.6 million Chicagoans, and there's about 10,000 police officers. Right. So there's a lot more eyes on the citizen side than there are on the police side.
Absolutely, and the good thing, you know, you talked about downtown. The commander who's head of community policing now is Commander Lucy Moy, and as many of you know, Lucy was commander of the 20th District for a number of years, and what's really good about that is she was a district commander, and she does know that community policing in 20 was different than community policing in 24, and different than the 5th District. So Lucy has allowed the districts to kind of be, autonomous in that sense, and that's, for a district commander, that's really a big deal, because all our communities are different. So I'm really glad they put a person like Lucy who understands that down there. Crime prevention, as I said, will go on and on and on. And it's people like, and without blowing smoke up your nose or anything like that, Avi, it's people like you, it's people like Sonny, who don't get paid for doing this, who do it. And, there's a lot of people scratching their heads saying, why would they do it if they don't get paid for it? Well, because you live here. This is your community. This is where you raise your kids. This is where the schools are. Because it's the right thing to do.
Oh, thank you. And by the way, just so you know, it's not like I would refuse a 6-figure contribution if anybody wants to kick into me.
Well, Avi, I'm on a fixed income.
Yeah, you're on a pension now. Yeah, and at least I hope that's funded better than some of the stuff in Springfield.
Well, right now it is. Right now it is.
Thank God for that. Matter of fact, one of our future guests in the next week or two is going to be State Representative Kelly Cassidy, a first-time guest, who's the state representative where Harry Osterman used to be along the lake in Edgewater. Mm-hmm. So just, her and other interesting people. So you know what? We've got a new commander who you kind of brought to mind because he actually he used that same phrase basically. It's about community policing should be about people talking to the actual beat cops, and he puts that importance on things, and that's and so far he's made a really good impression on me. That's Thomas Waldera.
Yeah, Tom. Let me just say something about that because
Sure.
Tom kind of came through the same system that I did, and I've said this before on your show, but I also have to give Charlie Ramsey, who's police chief in Philadelphia now, credit for that. It was
I love Charles Ramsey. Still do.
Well, when we started community policing back in the early 90s, Charlie Ramsey would go out to all these different districts and talk about community policing, and he asked a very simple question. He said, how many of you know the name of the beat cop that patrols around your home, where your family is? And I went to one of those meetings, and I lived in 24. I couldn't say who they were. And he said, well, don't you think you should? And that simple, eloquent statement really brought it home. And Tom Waldera, of course, was a disciple of Ramsey like I was. Tom Waldera and I made lieutenant together. Tom Waldera is a consummate professional. Tom Waldera has always been an operations guy. He knows the streets. He knows crime. He knows gangs. He was the gang lieutenant up in Area 3 when I was deputy chief there. One of the sharpest, most savvy guys I've met. Will work 100 hours a day. That's just Tom. But not, energy expended in an unuseful way. Tom is a very focused guy, and he will really be good for this district.
No, I really like him. He's very personable. As a matter of fact, we've already talked about important subjects like corned beef and where good kosher corned beef is in the 24th district. So, you have to give him a lot of, but no, he's very personable. As a matter of fact, that he's been going to the community policing meetings, and he noticed right away that people direct everything to him and not to the police.
Right, exactly.
So he's actually made it a point to show up later in the meeting
Sure.
to make sure that people put their energy into speaking directly to the officers.
The officers, and that's why, Tom is a new commander, and he's reaching out. He wants everybody to know that he's here, that he's in command, and that's a good thing, but I think he'll learn. It's a learning process, that the focus should be on the patrol officers. That's who these people need to be talking to.
No, absolutely, but it's important, and that's why you should go to caps24.org in West Rogers Park and Rogers Park and see where your beat meeting is. There's an entire list throughout the year.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, what are you doing with your time these days? You're a professor still?
I kind of took a hiatus from the city colleges. I had some surgery back in November.
Refuah Shlema, that's right. I saw that on Facebook.
Right. So, but the good news is I'm here to talk about it. So, we're doing a few things. We're kind of rehabbing a building right now, and a couple other things that hopefully will work out in the wind. But I'm having a great time. Not to give the time frame away or anything like that, but I know recently the Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup,
Yay!
and which was terrific. And the nicest thing was I was sitting in my den watching the celebration in Wrigleyville on television. 3 years ago, I was down there, and it was just pandemonium. Friendly crowd, great crowd, jubilant, stuff like that. Just a lot of people. And it's hard to send, 200 policemen to a crowd of 10,000 people. And, I understood that the police command staff that was in Wrigleyville when the Hawks won, some time ago, what they were going through. But like I say, it was a good feeling just watching it on TV and not having to be down there, So, but like I say, we're busy. My wife of almost 41 years, and we've done some traveling, and but we still love Chicago, so we're really not going anywhere.
Yeah, as long as you mentioned the Blackhawks, I have to give a thanks also. That was for those of you who remember, there was a big storm night. There were 300,000 homes without power.
Right.
7 o'clock game at 6:07.
I know what you're going to say.
A big gust came through. My power went down. Everything, okay? And even my telephone is hooked up electrically, so I was really out of it. And the power stayed off for 20 hours here.
Oh, boy. Well.
So thank God I've got an industrial freezer,
Sure.
Probably shortened the shelf life on my vegetables and milk, so I'll be doing a lot of that lately. But matter of fact, my neighbor across the street, who's also a police crossing guard, by the way.
Oh, really?
Mary Engel, thank God they had the lights over there, even though the lights blocked south, were completely down. So anyway, I went to Mary's house, and thank God I got to watch the game in nice HD TV. Thank you, Mary.
Terrific.
And I'll tell you, those last 17 seconds, even though I saw it, I was like, what?
It was unbelievable. I felt really, I think as a Chicagoan, you felt really proud of these guys. So terrific.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I've been a fan since high school and even before. But, and I want to mention again, I actually heard from my friend Asher Carroll, but his family, the Carroll family, owned Carroll's Red Hanger Shops.
Oh, really?
And I went to high school with them. And the dad was from Canada, and they were all hockey players.
Oh, okay.
And they were a Blackhawks sponsor.
Sure.
They had 6 season tickets, and Murray and I were best friends senior year, and there were a number of times they'd ask me, hey, would you like to come with us? They had an extra ticket.
Sure.
And I got to see, without the helmets in those days, Bobby Hull and Stan Mikita in the 60s. That was great.
So I said those were real men back then. I mean, we used to go to games when the place was half empty. Now it's, it was like the Jordan years. You couldn't get a ticket to see the Bulls, and then as soon as he was gone, the place was half empty again. But, whatever. I mean, you're really proud of your sports team when they do that, I mean, the only thing that I'm really sad about, speaking of sports and the same thing, because now I live in Lincolnwood, and, I haven't gone down Devon Avenue, but I see the baseball has gone from Thillins.
Yeah, and basically, the Thillins asked them to take it down because the park is in such disrepair.
Yeah. And that was part of our childhood, I mean, growing up here. So
I was on the Ida Crown Academy team, and I played there.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I was also the announcer for the Westridge Chamber for the police fire department game, and that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that was.
Maybe you should put together a fundraiser, Avi.
I wouldn't. Oh, for Thillins, why not? For the park district, yeah, and myself. 6 figures for the community policing. Don't forget that. That's very important, guys. So anyway, it's interesting because whenever I like to post on Facebook, you can friend me on Facebook, Avi Myers, AVYMEYERS. But whenever I post your name as being part on the show, and there's a little trick to knowing how to get it to appear on their homepage.
Sure.
Like all these people come out of the woodwork that I haven't seen for a while. People like Dana Nate Griffin is her married name, and and other people like that are all yay, or Sharon Endo the same thing.
Well, actually, I found out about the ball. There's a site, I can't remember. It's you're from Rogers Park or something, and it's all people that grew up in Rogers Park and a lot from West Rogers Park. And they have pictures of Kittyland. They have pictures of all these old. It's Ashkenaz on Morse Avenue. It's a fascinating site. It brings back a lot of memories. But that's how I actually found out about the ball, Thillins, which used to actually be at Maplewood and Devon. It was on top of a building, Boys World. Right, exactly.
Oh, cool.
A lot of people didn't know that, so.
Well, at this point, I want to thank you very much. I want to remind everybody National Night Out, Tuesday, August 6th. Sonny's got it at Greenbrier Park if you're Devon to Peterson, Kesley to Ridge. I've got it at Warren Park, Devon to Peterson, Kesley to Ridge. Help participate, free goodies for the kiddies. I want to thank very much Deputy Chief Bruce Rottner, retired of the Chicago Police Department, for helping talk about it and explain it to us, because the city, no, forget about the city transparency. Thank you so much,
Thank
Bruce.
you,
I
Avi.
appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.